Hey, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Undesired and Prescribed podcast. I am Brown Sugar, and today coming at you with another rendition of Brown Sugar News. Oops, I'm wearing a visor right now. But yeah, I'm live over on Twitch right now, doing a live broadcast of this episode. So if you guys would like to watch these live, you know, because I do interact with people live. I usually keep them in. Sometimes I pull them out though. But anyways, yeah. So just check out my stream sometime. Twitch.tv/ITS Brown Sugar. That way you will get notifications when I go live. And I usually say in my title UP broadcast or UP recording live or some shit like that, because I also just stream when I play games sometimes. But anyway, neither here nor there. Just want to let you guys know, that way you can watch this live, because I'm a very attractive person and doesn't hurt your eyes one bit. But anyways, guys, like I said, welcome to another episode of Brown Sugar News. And today in the news, we are going to be talking a little bit about Loki, the fast food meals, celebrity fast food meals, and then this is going to be. It has to do with women's professional wrestling, but more so about equality, because former wrestler Triple H, who's now like an exec with the company, said that another all women's pay-per-view is not needed at this time. So that's his quote. I'll react to that, I guess. So yeah, that's what we got on the docket for today. So actually, really first, before we jump into the news, guys, I got vaccinated. I got the J&J, the Johnson and Janssen. I don't know what the fuck it's called, honestly. I just know it as J&J. The guy wrote Janssen on my thing, but I seen people. Whatever. I got vaccinated. Which I don't know if I talked about it or not, so I'll just go through it again. I always was going to get the vaccine, all right? And the reason that it took me so long is because I'm lazy, all right? It has nothing to do with me like, oh, I'm being chipped. I don't need the vaccine. I'm too strong. I'm not crazy or anything like that. I don't believe in that fucking mumbo jumbo bullshit. Um anyways, so and that's the only reason why I hadn't got it, cuz it's been a while. But I said I got to get this vaccine soon, because it's about to get to the point where if I don't have this vaccine, people are going to think that I'm one of those fucking idiots that doesn't believe in the vaccine, and I shouldn't get vaccinated. So I was like, I have to do this soon. And I scheduled my appointment because I just wanted the one dose. I don't really care about any of the side effects or anything like that. Like, if I die, I fucking die. It's definitely not going to become some fucking vaccine I got when I was 21. But so I got the one shot, and from my experience with it, I think I got it at a good time, because I went on my break at work, which was I scheduled it at Walgreens for 5 o'clock. So I felt like I got it at a good time, because I was starting to feel a little sick. Like, my shift that night ended at 8 p.m. I didn't get home till like 8:40 or something like that. Well, I guess my shift ended like at 8:30. Didn't get home till like 8:40 or something like that. And I definitely felt a little sickly. Like, it was a weird feeling, because it's like I don't feel sick, but my body feels like it's sick. But I started getting that like around bedtime, so I was already tired. Took a Tylenol, went to bed, woke up perfectly fine. So, um, for those, because I think people say they get sick after their second dose. So, if you haven't gotten your second dose yet, or haven't even scheduled it yet, I would suggest doing it maybe around late afternoon, early evening. Is that what 5 o'clock would justify as early evening? I think so. So That's what I would recommend. So later in the evening, or whenever you typically go to bed, like a handful of hours before then, but not a ridiculous amount. But I always feel like I have a strong immune system, anyways, because the last time because I got sick, after I got my wisdom teeth taken out. Cause yeah. I got sick after I got my wisdom teeth taken out because I took too much. Not too much. Like I took this 800 milligram ibuprofen on an empty stomach, and it really fucked with me for a whole day. But outside of that, the last time that I was sick, like physically sick, freshman year, like throwing up and shit like that. Like that was freshman year of high school. It was a while ago because I'm 21, so that was a while ago. But that was the last time that I was ever like truly sick. But just want to let everybody know. So if you haven't gotten your vaccine yet, I can now tell people to get the shot. I can tell people to get the shot because I finally got mine. But get the shot, everybody. Now, really jumping into the news. So Loki had a surprise drop on Monday, and I finished it earlier this evening, and I gotta say, at first, I really wasn't feeling it too much. Like, I was enjoying it. I do like Tom Hiddleston and the character Loki, so he kept me invested, but I was like, from like the standpoint of like Marvel, like, this is kind of just like stupid. And I was like kind of like in my head, I was like, oh, but like this is like immediately after like Loki like got defeated in New York, so he hasn't had like all that character development, and he's not going to be the same Loki that like we really really like at the end of Ragnarok and like beginning of Infinity War when he dies. It's going to be like a bitchy stupid one. And at some points, if Tom Hiddleston was trying really hard to like, I don't know if it was the way that it was written or if he just like, I don't know, but he was trying too hard. Specifically, like the one of like the it's like the metal detector scene, if you know what I'm talking about. It looked like a metal detector, but it obviously wasn't. But that scene, it seemed like they were trying way too hard, and it wasn't for me. But then, mainly, when I really started getting into it is when Owen Wilson's character takes him back to his office, and they start going through it like, "This is your life," type deal. And then he has the whole like escape and stuff like that, and there's just like he looks into the car, spoiler warning, and there's just like a bunch of Infinity Stones, and then he's starting to come to the realization, was like, you know, I may be a god, but like I'm not, like I'm kind of like everybody else, because in the office, Owen Wilson's character was trying to like figure out, like do you enjoy killing people, all this other stuff, like, and I don't know, like I'm not Loki, but they humanized him in an incredible way, and whether or not you know what the fuck's happening in Marvel or not, I would suggest watching this episode, because Tom Hiddleston's performance in it is really good, but it's really written well. It humanized Loki in a way. I don't want to spoil too much because I don't want to rob anybody of like the satisfaction of watching it, which I mean, I spoiled like a little bit of it, but because it just goes through his life, and then obviously since this is post New York attack Loki, he doesn't know everything that happens in Dark World, Ragnarok, Infinity War, and obviously he's dead after Infinity War. So they show him parts of his future, and that's when it really starts to humanize him, because in the Dark World, he he got his mom killed thinking that he was sending the Dark Elves to Thor. But regardless, yeah, and I don't know, I just thoroughly enjoyed the like his arc just in that episode. Like that was a really good episode by the end. Like I said, there was it takes a little bit to get going, and takes a little bit. I'm sorry, I keep hitting my fucking, sorry guys. it takes a little bit to get going, but once it does get into that scene where Owen Wilson and Loki are together, I forget the character's name, so I'm going to keep calling him Owen Wilson. Lightning McQueen, by the way, if you don't know who Owen Wilson is. So Lightning McQueen and Loki, when they get together, I think that is like genuinely like good like not great Marvel cinematic, like just genuinely good like acting and art. I almost said theater, but I forgot it's technically a television show, but that's just really good shit. All right, that's just the best way I can put it. So guys, please watch Loki, please. Now into our next topic of discussion. Not really discussion, but just this theory. So, I got off work tonight, and I went over to McDonald's for some dinner. All right, and let me tell you something. I drove in, and on their window, I saw pay range from 11 to 20. And I'm like, okay, obviously like 20 is probably like a higher end manager, if not the general manager. And like obviously, okay, so I don't know why I'm taking so long to explain this, but there's that shortage of labor for like restaurants and shit like that, because who the fuck wants to work service? Who the fuck wants to work food service, right? And it has me thinking, I feel like it's the motherfuckers that like make careers out of working like fast food and shit like that. Like, you know how like every like McDonald's has like some or a couple old ass ladies working there and stuff like that. Well, let me tell you, brother, like it's because of the fucking BTS meals and the Travie patties, bro. Because I'm just playing, but like no, like genuinely, I can't imagine like being like even being like 30, even being just 30, but like imagine being like 40, 50, 60, you know, like older people. And he was like, all right, here starts the Travis Scott promotion. It's just a Big Mac or whatever, and a Sprite, but people are going to lose their mind for it. Like imagine being old and not and like having to like deal with like fucking kids who like, I would like the Travis Scott meal, but separately bag everything because or the BTS bags. Like dudes were like really like selling that shit on Facebook Marketplace for like $40. Like I legit had that shit pop up in my fucking Facebook Market feed, bro. Like BTS bag. And like, granted, I don't know if anybody is like actually like selling it, but like people are like going crazy for this shit with like the BTS meal and stuff like that. And I'm not shitting on them whatsoever, because like I think that's great, but I just can't imagine like old like somebody that like just goes from like fast food to fast food working, and the fucking Charlie D'Amelio iced coffee, and shit like that. Like, I imagine I would be pissed if I was an old person, at least that kind of old person, because old people are kind of like angry like all the time. Like, yesterday at work, I had this woman like not mad, but like she was like kind of like a little snarly with me that I wasn't an expert on Nintendo Switch. Like she asked me, was like, why aren't you a Nintendo Switch expert? Like she actually asked me that, and I'm like, bitch, I work at GameStop. What the fuck do you mean? Why am I not a Nintendo expert? Let me tell you, if I was a Nintendo expert and knew how to fix this Switch, I wouldn't be here right now. I'd be with Nintendo because making more money, but. Nah, but like I said, she wasn't like a bitch or anything, but she was a little snarly with me. But yeah, I have my own. Well, no, I won't even bring that up. But moving on to what I say, women's wrestling, which it's more about like the women and equality thing in general, because you know, let me just get into it. So I'm not super big into wrestling, anymore. I do like to follow up on it here and there, but from when I was a kid, for anybody who doesn't know, um, women's wrestling, there hasn't been, they've never really given it the respect that it deserves, because those female athletes, and they work just as hard as like the men they've always had, and for people like Lita, Trish Stratus, those are the ones that I grew up watching. Um, and there, obviously there's some other ones as well, but they work just as hard as like the men and harder than some of the other men that are like they call it pushed, like pushed to the top because it's sports entertainment. So like it's like all like scripted and booked and stuff like that. But and it's not fake, all right? Like some of the stuff they they will like just they'll be thrown like it's not fake, all right? So I don't like it when people say it's fake. I need to tell everybody about it. But now the world of wrestling is crazy. But again, so women's wrestling is now like it was like the women's revolution, which we're out of, because like women's wrestling is like now like officially, like quote booked the way that it should be in non like derogatory ways. Like there used to be a brawl and panties match. There would be like they would just like very much sexualize women. I remember like when I was a kid, I was genuinely like I was like I would like turn the channel when like the women's sections would come on, whether it's just the match piece. I was like, I don't want my parents to walk in and like there'd be like a bra and panties match going on or something, like no more wrestling for you. But no, it's come a long way in the past couple years, and right now it's at a really good place, and it's just getting bigger and better every year. So congratulations to them for that. And one of the things that they did was put on an all women's pay per view, which like WrestleMania, SummerSlam, but this one was called Evolution, and big hit. Ronda Rousey was in that event. Becky Lynch, Charlotte Flair, which those were like the big names at the time, like the Man, Becky Lynch, the Irish Lass Kicker, like big bunch of badasses. But a recent performer, Mickie James, was released from WWE not that long ago, and she signed with another wrestling promotion as the NWA, and they are putting on an all women's event, and they're trying to, get. They're not trying to get what they want. What they would hope happen is, companies will recognize how important like this is for women, in this quote like indie wrestling promotion, and not like worldwide like the WWE is, or how big AEW is, or how big other promotions in other countries are. But like people, we hope to get people who are with other promotions to like be able to like sign on and do this event. And obviously they had to ask the former guy. He's a former wrestler, all right, and his name's Triple H. So it's all about the game, how you play it. Yeah, that guy. He was asked about it because he's now an exec, and he has a lot of power, a lot of say. Like he was the one who not orchestrated, but he was a very large part in getting that all women's pay-per-view together. But so they were asked about, it's like, oh, are you guys going to do another one? And then he went on to say, haven't we already done them? It's funny. It's a funny thing to me. So equality is equality. Equality is not, I want my own show. Equality is not, we have to have our own program. If I told you that I was making an all men program and I didn't want women on it, it would be criticized. And I'm not saying that's right or wrong. So I understand where he is coming from, um, very much, and personally, I so like from my point of view on it is I think he is off. He doesn't want to do it because he doesn't think it's needed. But he also is one of those people with that mindset is, oh well, if I did it this way, which I really dislike the argument of, you know, well, if it was men, if this was like an all men thing, and you could and women weren't allowed, then it'd be a big deal because it's just, I can't focus on this right now because I don't know. I just like to me it's just like a bad argument. Okay, but I will I will I will dive into that because I'm definitely getting off topic now. Um, that'll be its own little thing. Well, I'll have a meninist come on, and then I'll go mild. I'll go mild feminist. I don't know facts. I'll do some research, which is why that's one of the reasons why I stopped talking because I was like I don't want to say something incorrect that's wrong. Um, but I'll do my research. I'll become a feminist because, but I'm also realistic as well because I personally don't. I agree with him that I don't think it's something that they need like right now. I don't think that an all women event is going to be the big like PR thing that they think it would be. Like, don't get me wrong, it's going to generate like views if it's an all women event because you're going to draw in like all different types of demographics at that point that aren't people that are like just actual like wrestling fans and want to see it for the storytelling and the action and all that other good stuff. But I don't think that they need one for several, for mainly because of how well they are standing right now. Like the women's division for the WWE is on fire because, like I said, I keep up with it here and there, um, because there's like a lot of like because a lot of those trailblazers for this women's revolution, um, they're still there and they're still in their prime, and some of them are doing like their best work right now. Um, which I think it's at a place. I think it's at a place now where if people are getting into wrestling, they don't have that. They don't have that built. They don't have that idea of I can't take this seriously because they don't take they don't take the women seriously. Like WWE doesn't take their they call it the divas division, which and the divas title belt because that title belt was literally a pink and purple butterfly that said divas, like the divas champion, bras and panties matches for the divas championship and shit like that. So it's really come a long way. Um, but like I said, that they don't need to solidify themselves anymore. And I know doing an all women's pay per view isn't about proving that they can compete with the guys, that they're not as good as they're just as good as the guys, all that other stuff. Like, it's not about proving anything. It's just about empowering women and giving young girls an opportunity to see women in a big and positive way, um, that I really, really do enjoy. I'm all over the place right now. I'm really dry mouthed, so that's why. But yeah, that's just my slight reaction to it. And you know what, guys? Gotta say, I appreciate you all tuning in, and I look forward to seeing everybody in the next UP. Bye bye.